switch off? Let me have a think. 1 second.
How do I switch off?
What is that? How does that happen? Is that sleep?
How do I switch off? I like to read.
Sit down and play with my kids.
Making myself a cup of tea.
The way that I switch off is to draw for fun. And I'm an illustrator, so that sounds like the wrong answer because people think that's work, but it's when I draw without knowing what I'm going to draw, and it's usually when I first wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. and I just start making lines and see what happens. And that's like me in flow, and it's the most relaxing, rejuvenating thing ever.
I don't switch off. Maybe when I sleep.
Sleep. I like to sleep. I love to sleep.
I sleep mainly. Yeah, that is when I switch off.
I repair cars.
I drive. I tend to drive a fair bit, drive longer distances, so it's like meditation for me, just driving.
I think the house switching off is pretty straightforward. It's just making a pact with yourself that you're not going to be connected to your devices.
I go jogging. Being outside, it's a great time for me because the whole day I spend in the office.
So I try to switch off with audiobooks. So while I'm on the bike going home from the co-working space, and I just listen to all kinds of audiobooks, not technically related stuff, so I don't bother myself with more technical stuff after work.
How do I switch off? I do things other than look at a computer screen. So I have routines I work at home, so when I have lunch, I never have lunch in front of the computer screen, ever. And then, I go for dinner with my wife, I pick my niece up from school on a Thursday. So those are the things. I guess interacting with people is a good thing, and that's how I switch off.
I don't. If I had to, I'm not sure I would want to, but if I wanted to, I think I'd just find a book that's better than the internet.
I get away from the computer and maybe watch a movie or look at a painting or try and immerse myself in something stunning away from the computer.
I switch off simply by drinking beer, a lot of, after work.
I love gardening, and that might be the more genuine answer. When you spend time looking at the angles of leaves of a plant or a flower, you can't, the only time you pull out your phone is to take a photo. So that's how I do it.
Well, I like to look at cute pictures of animals on the internet, but even more than that, I like to draw pictures of cute animals. So I switch off by drawing pictures of cute animals.
I usually put on music I've heard 100 times before.
So I try and roll together exercise and relaxing, and I'm not a huge gamer, but I do play PlayStation a bit, but I promise myself I'll only play PlayStation while I'm on an exercise bike, and I roll that in front of the TV and I put that there, and it turns every game into 2 games, because you get the one game which is Batman must defeat the bad guys using a combination of stealth and brute force, and the other game is do not sweat into the controller, because if you do that then it stops. Well, Batman will just sort of stand up and run into the wall, like with his head against the wall, and all the enemies are looking around going, what's up with Batman? And you tend to lose, and you lose kind of permanently, because that controller needs to then just go into the airing cupboard to dry, and you need to use the spare. I actually have a spare controller for the times that I've actually done that.